The news is not that Donald Trump has just named his first appellate judge vacancy appointment. The news is not that he picked his hatchet man, the number 3 in the Department of Justice, his former criminal defense lawyer, Emil Bove, to serve that role for the Third Circuit, which covers New Jersey and Pennsylvania. That's not the news. The news that's missed is how many openings Donald Trump has at present and how many he will have until 2028. We've got to work to oppose them at the Senate. We've got to work to make sure that Alina Habba doesn't become one of those judges. He's got 3 positions, now 2 from the appellate court level to be filled. He's got 45 district court judges to fill right now. And there's over 250 judges about to take senior status between now and 2028, giving Donald Trump up to 300 judges to fill. This is what we were worried about, but there's a strategy in opposition. I'm going to cover it right here on Legal AF. Let's start with the news, the headline, and then I'm going to dive deeper, as we always do here on Legal AF. And we criticized it, when Chuck Schumer, Senate Majority Leader at the time, cut the deal to get a bunch of district court judges, that's the federal trial court level, approved on the waning days of the Biden administration to give Joe Biden a temporary win in terms of the number of judges that he was able to appoint and confirm versus what Trump did in his first term. He sacrificed something. He sacrificed certain openings, vacancies, if you will, at the all-important appellate court level. Yes, trial court judges do the laboring oar in our democracy, in our justice system. But appellate courts are really important too, because most cases end at the trial court level or certainly at the appellate court level and never make it to the U.S. Supreme Court. There are thousands of cases that are filed each year. Only 60 or 70 make their way to the Supreme Court. So justice is done at the lower level courts, and appellate courts are really, really important. Donald Trump is trying to pack those courts to make them as right-wing as possible. That's what he did to the Fifth Circuit, which sits in New Orleans. That's what he's trying to do to the Ninth Circuit, which is out in California. He's trying to keep adding Trumpers. So we said at the time, it's a dangerous precedent to set, to give Donald Trump so many on a silver platter of openings that he could fill. Now, I'm surprised that he's over 150 days into his first term and he hadn't started filling them yet. But, he's now turned to them as I feared. He had 3 appellate openings. There are 13 appellate districts in America. 11 of them are geographical. 2 of them are specialty courts. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals, for instance, covers New Jersey and Pennsylvania. That's sort of how Justice Alito came out. It tends to be moderate to liberal. That's why Donald Trump wants to put Emil Bove there. Now, Emil Bove, we'll put up his photo here in a moment. You remember he worked closely with Todd Blanche, and the 2 of them defended Donald Trump in all of the criminal prosecutions. The D.C. election interference case before Judge Chutkan. Also, the case where Donald Trump got convicted with Judge Merchan in New York on 34 felony count conviction. They also did a lot of work in the $500 million fraud case that was brought by the New York Attorney General against Donald Trump in front of Judge Engoron. So he's that hangdog looking guy, but not to be trifled with. I'm about to do an interview this Saturday with Jonah Bromwich, who just wrote a book called Dragon on Center Street with a minute by minute, day to day account of that Judge Merchan criminal trial conviction of Donald Trump. And he has kind of high praise for the skills of Emil Bove, especially when compared to Todd Blanche. Now, when Donald Trump started handing out rewards for people that supported him, look who he rewarded, all of his criminal defense team. Todd Blanche, the number 2, he's known as the bad cop. He runs the day-to-day Department of Justice under Pam Bondi. Number 3, his right-hand henchman, Emil Bove, right? Had been a prosecutor forever, was never a defense lawyer. His only client in his defense practice was one Donald Trump, Alina Habba. Let's hold her I hate to do it. Let's hold her in our thoughts for a moment as the acting interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey, having had zero federal practice in her entire career. She was at best a state court practitioner. Now, 3 until yesterday in the appellate court. 1 now he's attempted to fill with Emil Bove. That guy's going to fly through. He's going to get confirmed. It'll be tight. The Democrats will oppose, but he's going to get confirmed, leaving 2 more appellate positions. But wait, on the Fed court side, wait till you see. I don't even know who it's going to be, but wait till you see who's going to be nominated for Donald Trump as district court judges. We're going to see Alina Habba. We're going to see Alina Habba maybe even for one of the 2 remaining appellate court. Emil Bove was first. Don't be surprised if you see Alina Habba for one of the other 2 appellate courts, because she's not qualified to be a prosecutor. She just got criticized by a federal magistrate and basically told her in her office, you got to do better because your standards are sloppy. She's sloppy. She's sloppy as a person. She's sloppy as a litigator. She's been fined every court she's been in federal court. So he's got to get her into a safe space. For Donald Trump, making her a judge is a safe space. So you wait. Mark my words. Alina Habba, appellate court judge or district court judge. It's going to happen. Now, she might have a rough road with confirmation, but I also thought the same thing about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I thought the same thing about Pete Hegseth. I thought the same thing about Tulsi Gabbard, Dr. Oz. You see what a doormat of a Senate controlled by the Republicans will do. That's why we have to change things at the midterm. All right. So now we've got all that going on. Let's talk about senior status judges. This is why we wanted to win for many reasons with Kamala Harris, because of courts. It's not the only thing I care about in America, but it's pretty important up to the Supreme Court and the power of a president to change the face of the judiciary. He's going to sit down for this one if you need to, 250 openings before he's done. He's going to appoint over 300 judges with an asterisk, over 300 judges before all is said and done. That will blow by the 200 and change that Joe Biden did. And it may set a new record. That will change for at least the next 20 years, the face of the judiciary. Yeah. We are relying now in states, in district courts, and in states like up and down New England, the original 13 colonies or so, at least the original 5, California, Washington, and places like that, and DC, for the laboring oar of protecting our democracy. But Donald Trump is chipping away at that by placing people like Emil Bove. Now, to be honest, not a lot of cases come out of the Third Circuit, but you could see MAGA trying to steer cases to the Third Circuit to try to get Emil Bove. But he's one of 11 or 12. So it's going to be very hard to kind of aim at him, but that's apparently what he wanted to be when he grew up. He wanted to be an appellate court judge for life. This is an Article 3 judge. Now, the reason I said an asterisk on the 300 is that if we go back to Reagan was handed an additional couple of hundred federal judges by a Congress controlled by the Republicans. Remember, he swept in with a real mandate. He won 49 out of 50 states, every state but Minnesota. And he swept in with this full Congress. And they gave him and expanded the judiciary, because there's always this argument that the current number is not enough. The current number of 600 or 700 federal judges is too small given the caseload with the explosion of litigation and criminal prosecutions. Although under the Trump administration, there's going to be less criminal prosecutions. He's busy emptying out the jails of all the rich folks who pay him money at Mar-a-Lago to give him a pardon. So there's less white collar crime prosecutions, but there's more civil litigation, and we need more federal judges. Even Joe Biden thought we needed more federal judges. Question is, who's going to fill them? And if they give him 50, 100, or 200, like they did for Reagan, more federal judges, we're up, what's creek without a paddle. To give Donald Trump 500 federal judges, almost 2/3 of the judiciary will tie itself back ultimately to Donald Trump, or at least the half of the judiciary. is devastating. What do we have to do about it? We have to rigorously criticize, where it's appropriate, his federal judge nominees. We've got to take it to our senators. We've got to protest in the streets, and we've got to try, and this is the big one, to take back the House and the Senate. Take back the House and the Senate, certainly the Senate at the midterms. If we give him the House and the Senate at the midterms, we're cooked. The goose is cooked, and it's not even Christmas. We've got to regain some semblance of a separation of powers and checks and balances, especially when it comes to federal judges. I wanted you to have this information because the top story is not just ex-henchman for Donald Trump, criminal defense lawyer, Department of Justice becomes Third Circuit judge. It's how many openings Donald Trump is going to fill over the next 4 years unless we stop him in his tracks at the midterms by returning the House and the Senate to the Democrats. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button. Help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel. Come on over to the YouTube channel. Come on over to the Substack channel for Legal AF. It's been a long day of recording. And help us grow that pro-democracy channel as well. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.